Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of English with Sarvi. Well, today we want to talk about teaching vocabulary items to young learners. Let me tell you about my big plan. I'm not sure if it's big or not, but I'm going to talk about it. You can be the judge of that. Well, recently I've received a lot of questions regarding demo sessions. Now, what is a demo session? It is a session where you don't actually sit. You start teaching in front of the authorities of the school or the institution that you want to work for. It could be the principal of the school, it could be a head teacher, the supervisor, branch manager, somebody that is going to decide whether they can trust you to work in their place or not. Now, I create another video and I explain the general tips about a demo session. But we need to discuss the skills, teaching skills. So in these series of videos, I'm going to be talking about teaching skills, starting with teaching vocabulary items to young learners. Now, before we begin, let me tell you my point of view when it comes to teaching. I believe there are dozens of ways of teaching one particular subject to a potential learner. And now I'm sharing my own experience here. It doesn't mean that it's the only way. All right, let's start. Okay, tip number 1, create a context. Well, if you're teaching the food items to your kids, take them to the restaurants. If you want to teach them the animals, well, take them to the zoo. If you're about to teach them about thermometers, well, why wouldn't you take them to the laboratory? Well, if you're working at school, it is going to be really easy. You just need to talk to the principal. And if you don't have that option, you can just, put some pictures around the classroom and create like a fake lab. Or if we just want to avoid using papers, which is really good for the environment, well, we can just use our collaborative board, our TV, and use the laboratory picture in the background. And then you can turn off the lights and create another, environment that looks like a lab. What we want is for our kids to feel like they are in that place. And why do we do that? Because kids need a reason. Either kids or adults, I think both of them, need a reason to learn those vocabulary items. It's not easy going to a 10-year-old telling him or her that, okay, thermometers can one day be really useful for you in your life, especially in another language. So we need to really give them a reason to want to learn that vocabulary item. If you take them to the laboratory, if they touch a thermometer, they will probably want to know what the word temperature means. And they will probably want to know what happens when the mercury goes up, when the mercury goes down. They will be curious enough to want to learn that vocabulary item. So that's why we usually say, okay, don't go into the classroom and just show a flashcard, say, okay, this is thermometer. Because that is going to be like mechanical. It might work, again, unlikely, but it might work with adults and teenagers because they may know why they are learning the language, the philosophy behind it, how it's going to be useful in their future and all. But with kids, creating context becomes even more important. Tip number 2, present the vocabulary items in the context. Well, we always go to the classroom and we see that teachers teach in categories, especially when it comes to vocabulary items. We see pen, pencil, notebook, teacher, table, desk, window. Everything about a classroom. We never go to the class and start teaching pen, pencil, pizza, train, and honey, because that would be awkward for both me and my learners. We usually teach vocabulary items in categories. in a special context. And the course books have made this really easy for us because they provide that connection, those photos, and what you just need to do is to add some drama to it, create that context around it, and just in the right time use that vocabulary item. And believe it or not, they will pick that up easily. Tip number 3. Remember to check their understanding. Well, it doesn't really mean that we want to give lots of drills and repetitions. I mean, we do want lots of drills and repetitions because we do want them to pick up the right pronunciation, and it's good for them to, hear it twice, 3 times, or maybe even more when they want to acquire like a new vocabulary item. But here when we say checking understanding, it is very much different from giving lots of drills and reps. I mean, let's go back to that example of ours, the thermometers. If I have just taught the word thermometer and temperature to my kids and I want to check whether they've got the word, they've got the right meaning or not, and I give them like some pieces of papers, then I will ask them to draw a thermometer. And then I will be like, okay, everybody, can you show me hot on your thermometer? And if they can, show it, my next question will be like, okay, what is the temperature on your thermometer? If they can answer the question, then that's it. They've got the right meaning of the word temperature. So as you can see, it's going to be like a question with short answer. Sometimes it's just a yes/no question because we need this to be really simple as possible. And let me give you another example so that I can make this more clear. Well, if I have just taught my kids the word ladder, I can have like 2 flashcards in my hand. One of them is climb, and the other one is jump. And then I can ask them, okay, everyone, what can you do with a ladder? Which one? Oh yeah, climb. I can climb a ladder. And then I will understand that, okay, they know exactly what ladder means. Sometimes you don't even need a question. Gestures can be enough. Miming can be enough. I mean, if I've just taught them the word fire alarm, I will be like, there's fire, everybody, and there's no fire alarm. Can you make the sound? And then if I hear something like, then, yeah, there we go. They got the right meaning. Okay, let's wrap it up. Well, when I want to teach vocabulary items to my kids, I need to remember to teach them in categories, especially if I'm not using like a course book and I want to pick up different topics and work on them with my kids. The next thing which is important is to create a context first for my kids so that they can want to learn the vocabulary items and they are eager to learn, interested and curious to know what the word means. And the last thing is checking understanding. You shouldn't forget that all through the session, you need to have different questions, different tasks that can tell you whether all of your students have got the meaning correctly or not. That question can be a yes/no question. I mean, the answer of that question can be simply yes or no. For example, you teach them bread and then you say, okay, I love baguettes. What is your favorite kind of bread? And then if they can answer that, then for sure they've got the right meaning of the word bread. If you like this video, don't forget to push the like button, share it with your friends, and if you haven't done it already, it's not too late. Come on, push the subscribe button and push the bell button next to the subscribe button if you want to be notified when I have a new video. I love you very much and bye-bye.